Hello, Internet. I'm Matt.
And I'm Monster Punter.
And this is the Parallax Scrolling Podcast, where we give you our perspective on video games and the news that affects them. Hope y'all had a good end of year and beginning of new year time. I know I had a pretty good one. How about you?
I had a good holiday season.
Yeah.
Got to relax a bit. There was a lot that needed to be done as well. So It's nice to have time to do all that.
It's nice to try and play catch up. I say play catch up because I'm never going to get caught up. There's no way I'm getting caught up anytime soon.
Well, eventually we'll get to retire and then we'll have plenty of time.
And then we'll be dead and we'll have all the time in the world.
I suppose that's true. I'll sleep when I'm dead.
Yeah, we just started off the whole year with a positive note. Well, we'll be dead soon. Yay. So yeah, we both had really good holiday seasons. I think considering we are a video game podcast, we should talk about the cool video game stuff we got for Christmas. I ended up getting Final Fantasy 16 for Christmas, and I love that game. That game is so cool. And if my PS5 is telling me correctly, I'm within the last 20% of the game.
Already, huh?
Yeah. Well, you put about 2 to 3 hours a night, and we've been gone for a few weeks. Yeah, that'll be quick.
Yeah, speaking of which, things have just not worked out for the past month. Unfortunately, life's gotten in the way. I know we've been a little unreliable with getting episodes out. We intend to correct that.
Well, I mean, the thing is, we have a lot of real-world responsibilities and things that we have to take care of. So we'll always try to get out as weekly as possible, but sometimes stuff comes up. We're adults, sorry. But, yeah. Anyhow, back to Final Fantasy 16, because, I'm adulting in a world of video games. The game's great. Pacing is, especially when you start that game, the pacing is just go, 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 go. And I've finally gotten to a point where I think the game's starting to slow down. And I told you this yesterday, but slow down as in, like, yeah, we were cruising at a good 90 miles an hour. Now we're going a good 80, maybe 75 miles an hour. Like, we're still hauling, but you can notice that the pacing has changed a little bit.
I do plan on playing that game
You really should.
year. I just need to get to it.
You need to get through all those Trails games.
Well, yeah, speaking of... I am almost done with Trails into Reverie. I finished the main story where you had the 3 branching paths, and there is an ending, and you could end it there, but apparently there is a epilogue of sorts with the Reverie corridor, and things I've read, people have said they were happy that they went and did that. Not least of which is you get to see some additional scenes that you can unlock and watch of certain time periods, see characters that you don't normally see doing things in the games themselves.
I like that in games lately. There have been a lot of games that have been doing that where it's like, hey, here's our story, here's the end, but there's still some more stuff if you want to, like, wrap up loose ends type of situations. I really like that.
See more of the story, what the world that the characters are in. And for me, it was like the big bad that's been in the game since the very beginning, really. You don't get to see what's going on with them unless you start to do some of this after story event stuff. So I was pretty happy about that.
Nice.
So I am actually close to being done with all the games that have been released in the United States, and doing the way that these games are, there's another one coming out in the summer, and I may not play it right away. I may wait for the second game to come out, because the games are always split, and so you get to like a cliffhanger ending in the first one, and you have to play the second one to really get the whole thing to a
Gotcha.
certain degree. So it's like I could get this game in the summer and play it, but I may wait until the second one comes out and then play them both.
Well, you're probably going to have a lot of other things to do in that meantime as well. So it kind of gives you an excuse to kind of put that on the back burner.
Yeah.
You know, like Udin Chronicles is going to be coming out soon. Like, I think
that's true.
Like next couple of weeks, I think.
That's true. That I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm going to play that one. I can understand why people would.
I mean, I will, especially if they say it's a spiritual successor to Suikoden. Like, absolutely.
So, I've never been a huge Suikoden fan, so I can't really share your enthusiasm for the game, but
I loved 1, I enjoyed 2, I really liked 3, and then 4 and 5 I didn't really touch too much on. Like, I knew of them and I saw them played, but they didn't like grab me like the first ones did.
I see.
But from what I understand, Udin Chronicles is supposed to be like more like the first 2. So I'm kind of excited.
Okay.
But you also had another collection of games that you've been playing.
I've been playing. I've been getting more games for the Evercade.
Yes.
Since they're cheap. They're cheap.
Yeah.
They're $20 a cartridge typically.
And you get about what, five, six games per cartridge?
It all depends. I mean,
yeah, depending on the one. Like, I think the lowest I saw you had was like 4 on one of them.
I have 2 on one, and there is a cartridge with only 1 game out there.
Okay.
But a lot of the earlier game cartridges they came out with had a ton of games on them, with a lot of arcade games among other things. I'd say on average nowadays you probably get anywhere from like 8 to 10 if you look at everything on a whole. But it really depends on what you're buying, and they are putting some of these indie games and like some better known indie games that have come out on like the Sega Genesis, for instance.
Yeah, we yesterday played the Renovation Collection, and man, are there some great games on there.
Yeah,
Renovation did such a good job. Oh,
yeah, there's good games on that one, but there's like the Witch and Whiz and the Good Boy Galaxy. Those are 2 more high profile indie games that have come out lately.
Past 3 years, yeah.
Yeah, and what was the other one? Astaborg and Astabros. Those are ones that are a little bit higher known as well, and they're coming out in the cartridge. I ordered that one.
And the ever popular Sydney Hunter series.
Oh, that's the ones that you love. That's right.
Oh, don't play those, folks. They're stinkers. They are bad.
They're popular enough that they made 4 of them at least. I don't know how.
It was 3 of them. It was 3 of them, and the 4th game was something completely different.
I thought it was another Sydney Hunter game.
No, it was called Jester, and it was like
that's
like an
right.
Atari
You're
game.
right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Now the Sydney Hunter games are like they vary in graphical quality, but they're very clunky in their controls, and one hit, one death. It's
But no, at the end of the day, I'm really happy I got the Evercade. I plan on getting a complete collection. And
not every game on there's going to be grade A material.
Oh God, there are some really terrible games on the Evercade, and no joke. But there are some really awesome and high quality games on there too, worth playing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's definitely worth. Is it Xenocrisis supposed to be on there too?
It is, and it's the Sega Genesis version.
That's awesome. That's fantastic.
Yeah, so I'll eventually have it. I don't know how it's gonna work with the controller the way it is, but it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
Because the way we've played it before is on the twin sticks with the Xbox, so it's a little bit easier, I would say, with that.
I don't know. You might feel a little tighter control.
Who knows? I guess I'll find out.
If you just use the D-pads and the 4 buttons, I could see that being a little tighter on the controls. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess we'll see.
But yeah, it's just a really good investment at Evercade. So if you guys are interested, look them up. However, do know that Capcom and Namco are poopy heads because they released a collection of games, but you can only play them on the Evercade XP, not on the VS.
Or the original Evercade. Well,
Yeah.
the Capcom collection is only on the XP, but
right,
Namco,
you can only play them on the portable.
Yeah, the portables.
It's stupid. Shame on you, companies. Shame on you.
Yeah, oh well.
Makes me hope though that there's gonna be like a Konami collection, and like have like old school Konami games, just to play. That'd
One
be cool.
can only hope.
Yeah. Yep. So that's pretty much been us. A quick recap of things that have been. Let's go into comments, because I know somebody left a comment on our last episode, and it's been a few weeks, so we need to catch up on that. And if you guys got anything you want to comment to us, like this great question or anything else, like tell us like how cool your Christmas was, if you had a cool Christmas, we like to hear that stuff. Leave it in the comments on the video, and while you're at it, hit the bell and subscribe and tell all your friends to join us, and other shilling sellout type conversations. Give us stuff. Thank you. All right. So this question comes from that one dude, and we were talking about the Game Awards, and we were talking about the Sega trailer and how we were excited about that.
Yes.
Okay. So here's his comment and question. Now that Sega is willing to bring back some of their older IPs, what is the game that you guys want from them the most? Me, I want them to bring back Rystar. I really love playing that game on the Genesis Collection on 360. Also, I don't see this happening because the game isn't very good, but if they brought back Billy Hatcher, I would be so hyped. It was a game I played a lot in my childhood.
Billy Hatcher. I don't recall ever playing Billy Hatcher.
I know of Billy Hatcher, but I never played it.
I've never played it.
So that one dude, I'm going to tell you right now our answer. And I believe I can speak for both of us on this. Is what IP do we want them to bring back? All of them,
especially the RPG IPs.
But I was just saying, like, to start that off, we want them all. We really do. But I think we were talking about the Skies of Arcadia, obviously, because it's on our top 10 RPGs. Check that video out.
A genuine, actual RPG version of Phantasy Star would...
Yes, Phantasy Star 5 would just blow my mind.
Yeah, I would love to have an actual RPG Phantasy Star.
Yeah, but...
not that these other Phantasy Star games are bad. They're not.
No, not at all.
But I want a regular one.
Yeah, exactly. Give us that old turnstile combat. But yeah, we talked about this. I said Space Harrier. To have the Space Harrier series, you could really push that envelope now with the way graphics are. You even mentioned to me before Virtual On.
Oh yeah, Virtual On. Yeah,
Virtual On would be great, especially if you could do VR Virtual On. Mm-hmm. Awesome.
I don't know if VR would be good for that game, but maybe.
No, because I believe in one of the Virtual Ons, you actually had a first-person mode.
I don't recall that being.
I think it was in 2.
But for those who don't know, which I'm assuming is practically everybody, Virtual On is kind of as a mech fighting game.
One of the first mech fighting games of its type.
It's like Power Stone before Power Stone to a certain degree.
It was, I almost want to say it was Armor Core before it was Armor Core. But Armor Core in the sense of like an arena fighter.
Yeah. But that's why I said it's kind of like Power Stone.
Right,
a little bit. But imagine 3D movement and stuff like that with no analog sticks and...
Right.
Yeah. Oh, man, those were a different time.
Oh, yeah. We had to learn that both the twin sticks had to be used. This is the first time people were learning to use the twin sticks in unison.
No, but the Saturn didn't have that. There was, I
forgot, one of them had like been remastered and you could use the twin sticks.
It
was a pain. It was such a pain.
And
yeah.
I don't think I ever played that.
Okay. Can you think of any other titles just off the top of your head?
Well, the Shining series obviously would be.
Well, I mean, the Shining series is a constant. Shining Force, I think there needs to be a Shining Force 4. But yes. I think before we get a Shining Force 4, they need to bring back Shining Force 3 in all 3 pieces.
Yes, that would
because
be nice.
we only got piece 1 in America. Give us all 3 pieces so that we can enjoy the story and then go into 4.
It would be nice.
Yeah, it'd be great.
It would be nice.
Here's a obscure one. Eternal Champions.
Honestly, that was one of the most talked about games that they were going to do.
Is it really?
I think so. Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so. Eternal Champions was fun.
I want a new Panzer Dragoon.
Yeah, new Panzer Dragoon would be fun for it, you know.
But speaking of which, if you guys haven't played the remake of the original Panzer Dragoon, it is on Switch and PlayStation 5. I don't know if it's on Xbox, but
it might be on PC also. I'm not sure.
It might be. Get that game. It's great. It's great.
Yeah, rail shooters that are actually fun, because there are plenty of rail shooters that stink. Panzer Dragoon is pretty cool.
Yeah, I am a fanboy. I bought it on the Switch when it first came out for $25 digitally. Mm-hmm. And then they had it on sale on the PlayStation for $2. So I was like, yes, okay, fine. I'll buy that for $2. And then the other day I found it physically on the PlayStation 4. I'm not going to say how much I paid for it, but I have that now. Enough.
Enough.
Yes. Enough. But now I have Panzer Dragoon physically, which is the way I've wanted it the whole time. Limited run games, it's good.
Well, so you say limited run games. Actually, shout out to the actual company, Limited Run Games.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
Those guys are great. But yeah, I could try to think of other ones, but like, dude, another Gunstar Heroes.
Oh, the Gunstar Heroes franchise. That's right. I totally.
Yeah.
Wait, but that's more like Treasure. I don't know if that's.
But Treasure is like so synonymous with Sega. So I want there to be another Gunstar.
But Sega never owned Treasure. Like they own Atlas, for instance.
Well, right, but I'm just saying, like, all the Shining games never went on to another system. Why? Because Treasure put them out through Sega. So Treasure, I think that's the big thing, is Treasure and Sega need to kiss and make up and then start giving me all my games that I want. That's what needs to happen. And I'm not I'm not joking. Like, you guys need to like get over your beef and just start making awesome games again.
Would you need like a new monitor because of how often you'd be throwing your wallet at it?
No, but I'd have to probably outrun the cops for all the banks I'm going to rob just to buy them all. Like, I can't play them, but I bought them.
They're waiting at home, so when I get out of jail in 10 years, I'll get to play them.
Exactly. Satisfaction. But yeah, the main answer is all of them, if you couldn't tell. But the ones we talked about are probably some of the ones we're most excited to
Those are the ones I can at least remember that haven't been announced yet, mind you.
Yes, exactly. They haven't been announced yet, but let's hope for some really cool stuff coming. But yeah, thank you, that one, dude. And again, if you guys got any questions like this one, which was a great question, let us know. Okay, I think it is time for some news. And we have some interesting news stories. Or rather, like, I mean, you have some good stories, but I have what I feel are interesting. As in, like, mine aren't just about the video game industry, which is a shocker. But they're kind of connected, you know?
Well, mine is more like, how do I put it? Just trends in video gaming and things like that. So,
well, I'd say mine are kind of the same thing.
On the Visual Capitalist website, there's a 50 years of game revenue picture. That goes back pre 1975, probably to 1970. The console was barely there, which would have been like the Magnavox Odyssey at that point in time. And then you had like your arcade cabinets like Pong and things like that. And they go all the way to practically present day.
Yeah, 2020 is where they end.
Yeah, the big takeaways here are, the console market has kind of been stagnant for a while, with about $30 billion of revenue. The arcades had their heyday in the 80s and have not really recovered since.
No, but they're still going. I mean,
they're still there. Yeah,
and they're still kind of eking out over consoles, but
and there's been like handheld gaming had its place, but it's kind of almost disappeared. But those would be like dedicated handheld gaming devices. Because even like your PC handhelds nowadays can be hooked up to a monitor or something and play. So I don't know. Are they true handhelds? Yeah. I don't know.
And then like your Switch, stuff like that.
Yeah. Then the PC landscape, I think worldwide, which I think these numbers are, PC market's bigger than the console market. And when I saw it at first, I was like, wow, that's really strange. After thinking about it for a while, it makes sense to me. Think about this for instance. In China's probably the biggest market, whether we like it or not. They didn't allow consoles in their country for a little while.
Right. And
so what was there to fill the void? Well, it was PC. Mm-hmm. So when you have like these major markets like China and probably even Korea and things like that, where you have no console penetration, the PC is going to be something that's played quite a bit. So I think at the end of the day, it makes sense that the PC market is 50% bigger than the console market. Because of opportunities that were lost for things like that. I think depending on the market we're talking about, though, console and PC are probably pretty even, if not console being bigger. I think the United States is probably a good example of something like that, where I don't have hard numbers in front of me, but I would imagine that they're probably close, or the console is a little bit higher.
Now, I will say this, because I'm looking at this picture, and I got to bring this out. I'm looking at this, and I'm seeing all the colors that they're using to kind of like indicate what is what. And some stuff is like, like arcade is slightly above console, and then PC's way above that, and handheld just above PC. And then there's mobile. And then if you look at that little yellow line that's spiking there, that's VR. How is technically, by this chart, VR is selling more than mobile?
No, it's not. It's just the way this chart is constructed. It's just they're all relative to each other. It's not like mobile is everything underneath it. It's just just carving out its little piece. Because if you read the chart the way you're reading it, handheld encompasses PC, arcade, and console. Which
right, and that's what I'm saying.
Doesn't.
That's what I'm saying. Like, for people who are seeing it like that, that's not what this is trying to say.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But mobile easily dwarfs everything, and
but that's not surprising, because there are gamers and non-gamers who play mobile games.
Yeah, I mean, you have a lot of people who would probably make fun of people for playing video games that play video games on their phone, whether they like it or not. Grandma sitting there playing solitaire on her phone. Congratulations, she's a mobile gamer.
Yep. Exactly.
I don't know what else to say other than when everybody in the world, I shouldn't say everybody in the world, but everybody in the more industrialized world has a phone.
Yep.
It makes sense that mobile's so huge. And for me, like, I can't bring myself, personally speaking.
It's funny to me, because it's just saying that, it reminds me of the concept of like those sci-fi movies where they're like, now buy your own canned air because you need air to live. And it's like, Well, of course, the air company is going to be like the mega conglomerate in the society because everybody needs it. So you're living in this society where everybody has to have this product. We live in a society where everybody's got a phone. So it's going to make sense that they're going to need something on it to keep them occupied because people get bored.
So at the end of the day, and at the end of the day, mobile is the biggest platform. So you should not be surprised whatsoever when all these companies go after a piece of that revenue.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think the mobile is the most, how do I say it? Just terrible. Area of playing video games, in my opinion, not because it's inherently a bad platform or anything. I just think it's very exploitative. There's a bunch of freemium games on mobile that gatekeep things that you have to pay to get through faster.
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't know.
That mentality is actually carried into consoles and PC now. It's bled over because people figured out, people will do that. People will give you money for extra little things just because. Let's put that in our games too.
Yeah.
Because everybody wants your money. At the end of the day, everybody wants your money. Keep that in mind.
At the end of the day, do I think games is art? Yes. But games is first and foremost a business.
Oh, yeah.
And they are trying to extract money from your wallet. That is their objective. Take that as you will. That's why we see things like loot boxes and microtransactions and things getting more and more prevalent because it's the age old thing where like the Stanley cleaners. I mean, granted, I don't know how many people in our audience will even remember Stanley cleaners. You see a van every now and again driving around with their name on it, but they would sell a cleaner and get into your house with their product, and then to service their cleaner and buy things for was very expensive. So it's maybe a better analogy nowadays would be your printers from these various companies like Hewlett Packard, where you buy a $40 printer and the ink that goes into it is more than the printer, and the ink doesn't last too long. The printer costs a lot to make. They're selling it at a loss, but the ink is so overpriced. And that's what mobile gaming is to me. I can't get around it. It's just
yeah. Well, it's funny you said Stanley because Stanley cleaners or steamers, whatever their name is, but Stanley is currently like one of the hot new even though they've been around forever, it's like one of the hot new commodities to buy one of their fancy mugs, their water. I forget what they call these tumblers. Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you, Brain.
Good for them.
Yeah. No, I mean because there's like a Valentine's Day one that's coming out. It's like $500. I thought I heard. Like it's dumb stuff like that. But it's just you reminded me of that, and my brain just kind of like linked it to some stuff because Stanley cleaners, Stanley water bottles. I saw those things on TikTok. Hey, here's my news story about TikTok. And now normally like I said, we don't talk about other things outside of video games too much. But this actually has to do with video games and also not video games on TikTok. So a user, I believe his name is Justin. I think it's just straight up Justin. Yeah. He got onto TikTok after playing Baldur's Gate 3. And he wanted to know something about one of the races in the game called the Gith. All right?
Mm-hmm.
So an individual who I'm not going to give credit to, name, acknowledgement, whatever, person decided to combine, they call it stitch, where you like record you take the one video and then you add your video on top of it. So they stitched his question into their own video where they basically called him a tourist in the D&D community and basically kind of riffed on him for like, how dare you not know anything about the Gith, which, by the way, for anybody who doesn't know, the Gith are not like a widely known thing in the D&D community, the Dungeons and Dragons community. All right, it's just like they're starting to become popular again, but they've always been like D tier characters for a long time. So I wanted to bring this up because I wanted to talk about this because it brings up the concept of gatekeeping. Now, this guy's gatekeeping Justin from the D&D community, but gatekeeping in general is just very toxic behavior. It happens in video games all the time. It happens in sports all the time. It happens. Everybody who has a superiority complex brings up this toxic trait every time that somebody's trying to get interested in what they're doing.
Yeah, and protect your new players, people.
Absolutely, protect your new players, but protect your new fans. Protect your new fans. Whatever hey, I don't understand how that guy make a touchdown. What's a touchdown? Well, let me tell you. Not, oh, how do you not know? Don't be garbage. Don't gatekeep. It's just disgusting behavior. Now, the better part of this news story is that the D&D TikTok community has risen up like an army against this one guy and been like, yo, you need to not, this is bad behavior. You should not be behaving like this. You should not be acting like this. And they've been very supportive of Justin, which is very funny because like I'll be on my TikTok and I'll get like updates and random stuff all the time. And some people are getting into comment wars with Person because he will respond to them and continue to say nasty things. I'm like, I feel like we as a society, even if it's ever so slowly, we are moving away from a negative attention mindset. We're tired of it. We're getting tired of people seeking negative attention because it's just attention. So, which I think is just a wonderful thing. We need to get back to the point where we're actually supporting each other and, welcome people into your hobby. Like, you know what? I've been a Dungeons and Dragons player for a long time. I still don't fully understand a Gith. I don't particularly care to go out of my way to learn them, but I don't know them. I don't fully know them, and I don't expect anybody in the D&D community to know everything there is to know about Dungeons and Dragons. And if you do, I'm happy for you, but I'm also going to strongly urge you to go outside and look at the sky and take a breath of fresh air and find something else. Find other hobbies. It's good to have multiple hobbies. And
like just video games.
Like video games. So, it's cool that you know all this stuff, but you don't need to protect your precious investment. If people don't know how to accept others into their community, then that community is not worth being a part of.
It's that way. No matter what we're talking about, there's going to be people who act in a way that is detrimental to the community.
Right.
Gatekeeping is only pushing people out of the thing that you love, obviously.
Yep.
And I don't know, this is just a me thing, I suppose, but if I have more people to talk about the things I like, the better I feel about it.
Exactly.
I mean, having conversations with people is, something that is enjoyable to me. So,
and
I want to bring everybody in.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. I just want to take a quick second. I do apologize if I was a little too intense there, but bullying, gatekeeping, I consider a form of bullying. Bullying is one of the few things I just can't stand. So that's why this article this news story was so important to me to talk about. So I just had to, I had to say something.
We want everybody to be inclusive of anybody who wants to be a part of video games, in our case.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know how else to put it other than that. But as far as gatekeeping is concerned, Microsoft has been gatekeeping the games on their system.
Please explain this to me. Please explain this to me because I'm trying to understand it.
Game Pass title can't be purchased after it was removed. there's this game called Omori, Momori, and it was available on Game Pass for a while. And then it was taken off in June and is no longer able to be purchased. There's a disagreement between the developer and the Microsoft. Apparently, there's something of questionableness in a shirt in the game, and that Microsoft doesn't want any part of it. So I guess the question here is, I guess if you purchase the game, I'm sure you still have access to it. I haven't read anything suggesting otherwise.
It's just you can't buy it.
Correct. So it's a delisted game, but this is different than I think other ways games get delisted. Where do I come down on this? I think at the end of the day, if there's things of questionable nature, which they don't really get into a whole lot of detail out of the research I've done, but let's just assume for argument's sake that it was sexual in nature.
I'm kind of doing the background Googling as we speak, and I believe it is.
Okay. At the end of the day, Microsoft does have an obligation to their players, especially younger players. Now, granted, you could put the parental controls on there, but the parental controls are not perfect, and they could still be liable for things as a platform, if that's the way Microsoft views it. And at the end of the day, they get to decide what's on their platform. There's other ways you can play it. So, when I complain about a game being delisted, it's not basically just poof, not being able to be played again unless you pirate it. This game is still available on PC, for instance.
Yeah, exactly. Real quick, because there was something that was on the shirt, but there's also a bunch of other things that content within that game that if anyone's trying to look up this game and see what's going on with it, let me just read this off to you so you understand what you would be walking into. This is a horror game. Okay, first and foremost. So the trigger warnings for this game are flashing images, jump scares, self-harm and suicide, severe anxiety, arachnophobia, claustrophobia, thalassophobia, and trypophobia, cat death, snakes, child death, eye and finger mutilation, blood/gore, body disfigurement, and drowning. So this game deals with some really heavy imagery. And on top of it all, there is a shirt that has a word that I don't want to look into it too much more than I have to. But it's not a... From what I understand, it's not a word that should be spoken of in normal conversation. Yeah.
So, it sucks that the game... It sucks that, Xbox gamers aren't going to be able to buy this game anymore. But there are other ways to play it.
And the major thing to keep in mind is the reason why the game is not available on Game Pass and not for buying off the store anymore is because the developer and Microsoft have a beef.
Yeah.
So there's no getting angry at Microsoft here. I can understand why you would think that, but the developer's probably the one who pulled the game from the store.
Well, that we don't know. If they couldn't come to terms with Microsoft, then Microsoft, is just as likely to have pulled it. But
true.
If they couldn't come to terms, then it means that the creator of the game didn't want to make any changes that Microsoft wanted, and so it's not there.
Right. And so that's just the way that goes. That's a business thing. It stinks, but that's a business move.
Yeah. So...
speaking of business moves that are questionable, my other story deals with SAG-AFTRA. You know who SAG-AFTRA are. They're the actors union and the people who joined in with the writers during the writers' strike. In recent days, voice actors are taking to social media to complain because on this last Tuesday, SAG-AFTRA signed up for an agreement with an artificial intelligence company that would allow video game developers to use digital replicas of actors' voices.
Yeah, and thus, the actors themselves will not get paid.
Yeah, you don't get paid if an AI takes that spot over. Now, keep in mind that this whole AI, the reason why this is so unique and interesting is because, yes, it affects the video game industry, but back during the writer's strike, one of the things that SAG-AFTRA was fighting for was AI getting involved in replacing actors in like shows and movies and things. So they don't want you to replace your appearance, but your voice, who cares, right? It's just a voice. It's so stupid. It is so.
I mean, are the games going to be cheaper?
Probably not.
If they're not any cheaper, then what's going on? I don't like the idea of this anyway.
I don't either.
I think people should be paid for their work, and if an AI is going to sound like one of these actors, or even just a voice actor, if an AI sounds like them, then that's literally taking work away from that actor.
So some notable actors, Steve Bloom, who's done stuff in Cowboy Bebop, Mortal Kombat, and God of War, made a social media post stating, "Nobody in our community approved this that I know of. Games are the bulk of my livelihood and have been for years." Greg Baldwin, who's been from Avatar: The Last Airbender, said the union betrayed voice actors. And it's just to see all these different people coming out being like, this is messed up.
Yeah.
Like I can think of one thing in particular. There is a voice actress that we've kind of grown up on, you and I.
Okay.
We've seen her in other stuff, mainly from Slayers.
Okay.
But most of the voice actors and actresses from Slayers were Teen Pokemon. So
Yeah,
back when
that's what I thought. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
yeah, back when the anime series was coming out and the Ash Ketchum and all. So what they're saying now, but by doing this, in my eyes, is that they can make a Pokemon game and actually put Ash Ketchum in the game and use her voice lines and not have to give her a dime. That's disgusting. That's immoral. That is just wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
So keep an ear out, keep an eye out, and you know what? When you see stuff that you disagree with, it is perfectly acceptable to voice your concern. And if you want to stand with these actors, do so. Just don't get violent. Don't get crazy. So, yeah. And I think you had one other story, didn't you?
Well, there's a game coming out.
Oh, there's a bunch of games coming out. But are you going to talk about the ones that we were looking at before?
Well, I'm looking forward to Grand Blue Fantasy Relink.
Yeah.
The game looks like going to be a ton of fun. And the art style, I'm just a big fan of the Grand Blue Fantasy art style in general.
Right.
The fighting game is one of the prettiest fighting games that there is, in my opinion.
You love Loain now, don't you?
Hey, dude.
Yeah, I introduced Monster to Loain when he picked up the fighting game. That dude is so awesome. He's such a surfer, bro. But
and his brothers.
And his brothers are part of his move list. Like he uses them as special moves, and then like their big super is the two brothers run out, loft him up onto their shoulders, and then they're like a mobile battle fortress for a few seconds. It's so funny. Oh, it's so cool.
And so it's not a gacha game. I've looked it up. It's not a gacha game. So it's gonna be
not Relink. Yeah.
Yeah, Relink. So it's not going to be like what's the other famous
Grand Blue. No, not Grand Blue. Genshin Impact.
Genshin Impact. That's
There
it.
you go.
It's not going to be like Genshin Impact, thank goodness.
I knew it started with a G.
It's one of those. It's another G word. So yeah, it looks like it's going to be an action RPG where progression nets you your new characters, and so very much looking forward to it. And that's supposed to come out in February.
And it's multiplayer, and it's supposed to be. It kind of looks like Monster Hunter a little bit, like in behavior. So we'll see how more as it gets released. But it's cool. You know, it's also cool. And I'm so glad you pointed this to me, was the Transylvania Adventure of Simon Quest.
Oh, gosh.
This game looks awesome.
It's supposed to be a parody.
It's a parody / homage to the old school Castlevania series. And it looks gorgeous. And it looks fun. And I noticed, one thing I noticed that was really funny in the video is one of the bosses is a giant plant, like a Venus flytrap creature that bounces its head around, and that's an homage to one of the bosses from Super Metroid. The very first boss you really fight is a giant plant that does that. So
okay.
There's gonna be so many little things, and I'm gonna catch as I'm playing this game, and I'm gonna have such a blast.
2025 though, you're gonna be waiting a little while.
You know what? It better not come out around the same time as Monster Hunter Wilds. Because then I'll be mad.
Yeah, I mean, you'll never play this one then.
No, I'll play it. It's going to get put on the back burner if that's the case. Because we have to play Monster Hunter Wilds, and we have to go through it. And
yeah, of course we're going to play Monster Hunter Wilds.
If we ever decide to get off our rears and make part of our channel some actual video game playing, we should probably record ourselves playing that together.
That would be probably the best candidate.
Yeah, it would. Well, and there's a couple others. Oh, which reminds me, thank you for saying that, because there's another game you told me about yesterday. Let's see. Is this actually legitimate? It looks like it is. Looks like it's already out. Faxanadu Remastered.
Oh, God.
So God. For those of you who don't know, it looks like it got shut down. That's unfortunate. But
did it?
Yeah, it looks like it was a 2016 remake, and it's recently been shut down. But there might be another one. We'll see. But anyways, Faxanadu is a game from the 80s. And
indeed it is.
Is one Monster and I grew up on, and we both have very, very different opinions on this game. I love this game. I think it's great, and Monster can't get past the first monster in the game and has a fit.
No, that's not it. I beat that game because when you're growing up and you get a certain number of video games every Christmas, and that's all you have for the whole year. You beat the games you have, so I beat that garbage game.
Okay, you are hung up on one monster from the beginning of the game.
No, I'm hung up on a weapon. From
the beginning of the game.
I'm hung up on the game mechanics is what I'm hung up on. See, you got me going on this. I hate you. I hate you. I genuinely hate you. I will only say this. The fact that you need a sword to stab an enemy knee-high, it will never, ever, ever be something I can accept. You start the game with a dagger, and you can't kill half the enemies in the starting area. It sucks. It really does.
So the whole point is, in the very first shop you have access to, you're supposed to buy the spell in the shop, and that can kill those creatures for you.
I shouldn't have to buy a stupid spell.
It's a tutorial to teach you about how to use magic. I can
stab downwards. Stab downwards, my boy. Stab downwards. Yeah, no. I just got kneecapped and died.
Yeah, you
Never mind. Faxanadu sucks. Don't play it. No, it's not worth anybody's time. It is a terrible video game, and I condemn it to the farthest reaches of hell.
You do that. I, however, will enjoy it. And you know what? I've been thinking about trying to get find some time to record something to put back on my main channel. I think I'm going to do Faxanadu. And I'm going to use it as an argument against you the entire time.
You know what? I'll buy a copy of Faxanadu from a local retro game store just so I can destroy it and feel better, okay?
Oh, you are ridiculous.
I hate that game.
Oh, well, I'm in a good mood now, so I think it's a great time to get out of here.
I'm not in a good mood. I hate that game. Genuinely hate that game.
So it's even a more perfect time now to leave.
Jeez.
Oh, we have fun here.
If that's what you call fun.
It is. Us picking on each other is fun. So, that's pretty much all we got today. If you guys have any other news stories you want us to tackle, any other questions or comments, let us know. Put it in the comments. We want to engage with you. We may not respond immediately on the page, but that doesn't mean we won't not read your comment or talk about it on the channel. Because that's what we've been doing.
We don't get very many comments right now, so we're able to read them all in the channel. So that's probably how we'll respond.
So if you want to be upset about us not reading your comments, get more people involved.
Oh, come on. At any rate.
Oh, I'm a troublemaker. All right, you're going to get out of here. Thank you all so much for listening. Have an excellent week. Have an awesome time with your video games. And we'll see you guys in the next one.
Don't play Faxanadu.
Oh, later. Oh, too much fun.